So I'm going to have to pebble dash this, or should I say wet dash, as this was pebble dash but has been painted over probably nearly 100 years. But yeah, the concrete head was replaced. I'm going to have to redo that reveal there. It's just a bit shy of the actual door frame, so it needs redone. But yes, all previously prepped here and scratch coated with 3:1 sand and cement, a tiny bit of SBR on, and a little bit of waterproofer in and mortar mix. And now we're going with 4:1 in this mix, and going to be using the Batty Power Evolution mixer. It's so much handier than having to get leads out everywhere. And again, if you look at the water there, it's not just water. There's a wee taste of waterproofer in, and a wee taste of mortar mix, and a wee taste of SBR as well. Very little SBR. Literally just wash the brush out on it, as it's not really needed. It should bond to the scratch coat that's well keyed up as is. And here I am just getting my butter coat on, which, like I said there, a 4:1 sand and cement mix, and always plastering sand, guys. I don't work on jobs with building sand. It tends to crack too much, and it's not a good job. Plastering sand's much stronger and will last much longer and finish better. So a bit awkward here with the big trowel, as you will find. I'll opt for something a bit smaller just to get it on a wee bit neater. Also a bit more awkward now that I have the rule in the way as well for the reveal. So with that reveal, I just SBR'd it again and coated over with the 4:1 mix, and it bit in very well and dried lovely. Can't complain. Worked in very good. Again, not something I'd really recommend, but that render's quite fresh, and again, I've done tests with SBR and I know that it bites in really well that way, so I have no concerns of it. Again, trying to get this on very neat, guys. Gonna want to try and leave as little lines as possible. Again, patches are probably the hardest thing to do in plastering, whether it be just skimming or, outside rendering. It's very difficult to make these things invisible, guys. Almost impossible to make them invisible. But there is some tricks here, and maybe methods that I do just to help blend in them joints and stuff. For instance, when I'm coating, I'm just trying to coat just literally like 2 mil between the new render here, the new butter coat that I'm applying, and the old top coat render, and that will just allow enough dash to just leave it flush then. Also, when you're doing wet dash, it's going to be impossible not to go over the paint a wee bit. That's one of the reasons why there's a wee taste of SBR in the mix as well, just to help it bond, as I don't want nothing flaking off. But again, you are only as good as your background, and patches, like I said, they're always going to be patches, but if you can master the art of blending them in and getting them nice and flush, not too proud, and the same texture, you're going to go far. You're going to go really far. Again, you might just be doing something just small and you're not really that bothered by a patch, but again, this whole thing's going to be painted right through, so the joints shouldn't be, if a good painter comes in and he paints this and then paints the whole thing right through, it should blend in even more. Why the head was moved, I'm not sure. I think it was possibly timber. So when they were going to replace the door, it was just smart to take away an old timber head and put in a nice concrete head. And so once you do have your butter coat all applied, you're going to want to give it a bit of a key. And that key it'll just form a wee bond between the top coat and itself. Like it says, a key, it'll lock together. So it'll lock this coat and the top coat in tight and just basically grip, guys, in other words. It's very awkward up and under, as you can see, but pretty happy with how it's came in here. So like I was saying earlier, the key is to get these patches as seamless as possible and the same shape. We're going to go here with the mix, which is 3, 2, 1. 3 stone, 2 sand, 1 cement, and the stone is matched literally to perfection here for size. And we've got some limestone chippings, and again, it doesn't really matter, guys. There could be the grey slapdash stones, but it doesn't really matter. And here's the mix, guys, as you see, a wet mix. And they are a bit heavier stones, so they do tend to want to slide more than the pinhead or the slapdash stone that I usually use. But for this job, just going that extra bit of mile to try and make the patch look that wee bit better. Again, it is actually quite hard to see this patch as it's up high, but you know, left and right of the door might be a bit more noticeable. So the idea is to try and get them as close as possible. And tend to find when you're dashing, it's all about really how you, not just how you apply it to the wall, but how you actually load your trowel, guys. If you put loads on the trowel, you're going to get a real good heavy splash. To me, it tends to look very uneven. So if you load up your trowel nice and tidy, nice and even, and then you hit it with these stones, believe it or not, I have to hit them with a lot of power because they are heavier than the usual stones that would be usually wet dash with. And you can see I'm blattering on now, and it's looking pretty good so far. So the worst thing about wet dash is the clean up. Again, you can cover everything up, but I tend to find if you cover it up, you still have to clean it all up anyway, and then remove your coverings. So sometimes you're better, you know, some things can clean very easy and wash very easy, and other things not so easy. So you definitely want to pick and choose what your methods are for covering up. As you see, I've covered up the door here, and the door frame itself has still got tape on it, so it's still technically protected, but you still need to wash that, guys. There was a bit of a debate on the channel. Somebody says I would save a lot of time if I cover things up, and that was just when I was rendering, which to me is a wee bit of nonsense, because it does not take very long to clean your frames as you go. So again, it depends what you're working up against. If it's some kind of timber inside and you're skimming oak, for instance, you're going to want to cover that up, as oak will burn, will stain. But back to this job, guys, what do you think yourselves? Is this patched pretty well, or do you not think it's so good? I will go with a wee tussle brush just when I'm cleaning. I'm just going to feather these edges in just a slight wee bit more, and obviously I've up along that gutter and fascia board to clean. So them edges there, I will just feather them in and wash any other wee drips on down away. Just to try and blend it that wee bit further. You don't want to go too mad with this. Sometimes, as the artist says, you gotta know when to stop. Sometimes you can do too much and make it look worse. And here we go, guys. You can be the judge. I think it's coming in pretty well and should paint pretty nice. There's the reveal all done again as well. Still actually need to give it a wee bit of a cleaner, see a bit of a stone on it from the dashing, but not too bad, guys. Another wee wipe on the gutter, we'll be away after the floor, that is. And always make sure you cover up your ground if you got something nice stone down. But that's a close-up shot of the two. It's blended in, not too bad.